I think I'll call this episode How to Frickin' Accomplish Nothing. So, a lot of things went on in the last couple days. I got the wiring stuff, done in the dash. Had to do some researching. Had to find out what this clip was. That's pretty much all I got done to the car. As I'm doing the wiring stuff, you get looking, I'm like, well, I want to put the speakers in because then I don't want the dash and everything in the way. In this car, I had this bracket, and whatever they had done to it is what I usually do. Cut out the single speaker thing, and these are crap, but you can mount 3.5-inch speakers there. Okay, so find a pair, right? I don't know if it's my age, I don't know, but sometimes I just frickin' keep rolling these things over in my head like I can't make a decision. Part of it's because there's no choices. You can't go any place like you used to, I guess, and just listen to some cheap-ass speakers and find something you like. The last ones I bought for the truck, I actually went without a budget in mind because I knew I really wanted good stuff, and I drove up to a place, car audio place, and in my mind, for years, I've heard, oh, it's all Kicker. Well, back when I was doing a lot of this stuff, 20, 30 years ago, it was all Pioneer, Sony, blah, blah, blah. So I go up there and the guy's like, boy, you should really listen to these, the Kickers. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then he puts in some Hertz speakers. Blew me away. And I'm like, well, yep, they're twice the money, but that's what I want. So I bought a set of those, put them in the truck, absolutely love it. Alpine radio, more sound than we'll ever want. I mean, it just run you out of there. No amps, no nothing. Plenty in that little truck. So on this one, you always run into, eventually this car is going to sell. So you run into the eventuality of what do I want to put in it? Sometimes I've left the stereo out because I'm like, I'm not going to put a junk one in just to have somebody pull it. So I want something decent. The dash I've got, I actually, for years, I've had it stored. I thought it was cut. Well, it's not cut. So at this point, you don't have a whole hell of a lot of choice. Yeah, you can send something off to Kenneth, whatever his name is. They'll rebuild them for you. I didn't want to go to that expense either. The money I'm wanting to put into this car is not really, I'm not after the sound system, but you want something good for your money. So I end up going to Custom Auto Sound. I found a lot of places where the guys are just like, they're not that great. I had went to the Retro, but I must have ended up on some weird website or something that wasn't them or copying them. It was just off the wall, and all they had were these $400 radios. And again, not huge money, but they didn't want to spend that. So all of a sudden the next day, I don't know if the computer refreshed, what happened, but I end up, damn near the same site, it's just different content. Now, there's an ad for the Retro stuff, says everything's Bluetooth, and apparently they just changed that a couple months ago. So I ordered at this point because I don't want to cut that. And as weird as that is, like you think it don't even matter, it's just like I couldn't paint a Hemi Cuda car plum crazy. If that's the original color, that's what I'm putting on it. It's just, there's some things you don't want to change. So anyway, I decided I want to do it. So I knew that's what was going to happen. I actually called them up and they let me customize the package, which wasn't a huge deal, but I wanted the radio to really look good so you can pick the face, blah, blah, blah. But on the original radio that I had, I don't know where it went. I must have sold it years ago. It had chrome knob on the back, black in the front, had a little chrome line around it. They let me pick that combination and just tore the box apart and send me what I want. They'll be here in a week or so and we'll see what it looks like. So that's that. Well, couldn't decide on speakers. You're looking everywhere. I ended up driving down to Columbus, went to this big custom audio place, and they've got racks around the wall full of radios, but $1,000 radios, nothing really cheap. Same with the speakers, all high-end stuff. And I'm like, well, I guess I just got to decide what to do. You couldn't hear anything. I went online. Now that's comical because the only thing that I could find, I'm searching for comparisons. The only thing I could find was, say this guy, and he came up a lot, and comparing speakers, right? On a YouTube video that I'm going to listen to on an iPad speaker or some cheap-ass JBL headphones I've got. Think about that. The whole video was nothing but the dude being like, here, listen to this, and you can, do they not realize that you can't hear the speakers? I mean, I know for most of you guys our age, I don't even have to say it, but it got 1 million freaking views and you can't hear it. You can hear it, but you're listening to your own stuff. Makes no sense at all. So what I ended up, actually went into Best Buy and they had a couple cheaper systems there, but I ended up spending 30 minutes. Girl walks in behind me, a younger girl, and has no clue what she was looking for or what. So I explained to her the process of, you gotta find out what's in your car first, order the size, blah, blah, blah. Because again, you couldn't get any help with anybody. They were too busy talking to a guy that told him he was gonna buy a $2,000 TV and needed everything hooked up. So he had 3 guys surrounding him. So I left and came home. So what I ended up doing is I basically have ordered 2 sets of speakers. I'm gonna hook them up when the shit gets here and we'll see what works. One thing I did do, usually on a car like this, I wouldn't do. You just set the bias, 80 in the rear, 20 in the front, turn it down because you'll blow those front speakers. So I went ahead and ordered me a couple 50 microfarad capacitors. And I'm just gonna throw those on the front, knock the base out of it, and should clean it up a little bit where I don't have to do that. Again, never done that in the past. I've done it when I used to, built crossovers and stuff, but I don't know, like I say, sometimes you get so anal or so concentrated, in depth trying to do something. It's not that I wanted the best, I just want good for my money. And even at that, it's going to end up being $500, which is wild. But then the next thing I'm on to is I was trying to find kick panels. And of course, I thought I had a really good set, and I do, but they're both passenger side. So that does me no good. I've got 2 good passenger side, and they'll get repainted, they're clean. And then I've got a full set of tan. The only reason I don't want to use the tan set is because if you scratch, you got a black interior and you scratch it, obviously, you can see it. I at least want something black. And after looking around, I've spent a week, I posted ads. You throw the ad out there on the Facebook and different places where you can buy in parts. 50,000 people, nobody's got a black driver's side. Stuff is really getting hard to find. Like I said, I got a pile of them upstairs, wrong color. And the one this is the one, the driver's side that I do have. It's just broke off from there. And obviously on quality, I'm trying to do this car. It's not good enough. So I actually found one, ordered it. It's OER. We're going to see how it looks. You just try not to spend that kind of money when you got good stuff, and you try to use the original GM. But I'll let you know how that goes. I'm going to go on vacation next week. I turned 60 and going to go somewhere that may be fine. We'll see. And hopefully everything will come in while I'm gone. Then we'll go through and hook up some radios. I'll listen to them. And that's the bad thing about even the comparisons I watch. They just say, here, listen to this. If the guy had just simply said, this speaker has no bass, this speaker plays, but describe it. But they're just, I hate saying it, it's just like idiots thinking, here, listen to this, and you can tell the difference and not say a word. Amazes me. So anyway, I pulled the dash down. This dash I've had for a while, and it is in great shape. I sprayed some 303 protectant on it, and I basically just let it do what it can. It's one of those things, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot you can do because it's vinyl, it's plastic. It's like everybody says put stuff on it and let it soak in. I don't know that anything soaks in. I've tried to do this to a lot of dashes, and that 303 protectant's one of the best things I've got, but that seems like it works good on soft vinyl, not this kind of stuff. This was dirty as heck. It's been stored forever. And about the only thing, I'm gonna try to clean it a little more. It's just old and has that dull look to it. I really don't want to put like a Bulldog on it, and then I could spray some Sim black color. I could throw some clear on that to tone it down a little bit. There's a few things you can do, but it's not ever been painted. I'm just looking for something. If y'all have some ideas or you found something that really works good, because this just has a dull black look to it. If I put it next to something that's new and black, which I don't have, but you get the idea. It's just, well, maybe this will work. Like you can see, I put some Chemical Guys black on black on here, and it really makes it pop black. See what I'm saying? So the dash, and I've even thought about that. I've got an old dash upstairs. I may have to grab that because I have used this stuff before, and I use it on all my plastic pieces, the grills and things. That really cleans it up. And like the grill I'm talking about is that one up there, the plastic grill for the cow. Those get really dull looking, and what you'll do is take a propane torch, and you can run a propane torch over that. And a lot of plastics, you can do the same thing. It like very small, atomized, I don't know what it does, but you run that heat over there, it'll just reshine it. It reshines everything. Just try it on the back of something somewhere. Like I say, I just used one of these. Maybe I'll do one later. I just got no new parts, and I'm going to leave for a while, so that's why nothing's going to get posted. I also did this. I had these wire loom for under the doors. Really nice shape, not rusted through. I forgot I even had them. I get so much stuff buried sometimes. And then probably 2 years ago, because you're always looking, somebody posted a set on eBay. They were brand new, and I think they were like 70 bucks delivered. And I think at the time they were like $150. So whatever, I bought those. And I'm going to go ahead and use these because they look really nice. And then, so I've got a nice set of those that I'll just sell them. Yeah, they were original, but I've tried them. The other ones fit fine. Oh, and this came in. This is the piece that wraps around the fuel tank, right? I've actually got 2 ordered. I found this one through SS Tubes or Fine Lines, something like that. And it's still a big thing. I called Right Stuff. They still don't have them made. I called Summit. And then I found, while searching, I found this part number. Says it fits the car. It just looks different. If I don't get it on, I'll have the 2 to compare to. But they just look a little different in shape. I'm not sure what the deal is. But the guys at the Fine Lines place, the girl on the phone says they sell theirs to Right Stuff. Well, that's BS. They don't do that. But on Summit's website, if you run this part number, it comes back and it says Right Stuff on it. So I explained to them and they're like, yeah, that's what it says, but they can look at their manufacturer code and they're like, that's not who it's coming from. So when you go to Summit, order this part number, it's not coming from Right Stuff. It's coming from SS Tubes. And it's a little different than the one that Right Stuff makes, which they told me maybe this week I'll get it. And again, I'm being a little bit anal about it, but if it's right, it's right. And I just want, you go to the trouble to get the right clips, everything on this. And the people that know these cars, if it's going to bring the money that I want it to bring, they'll look under and guys will know that sort of thing. And you can tell if you cut corners or not. It's just like the fan. There's an original fan. There's an original spacer. Guy asked me a question. I tried to post it back to him. I've got a fan, looks exactly like that one, but it has another rivet in it. It looks exactly the same. It'll work. And then I've got, this is an original one, right part number. This one was just a little bit shorter, but other than color, they look exactly the same. But I've been there. I built a numbers car before, and I'm not going to do that, get that ridiculous. Again, I wasn't. But on this car, it makes a difference. You can look at the pieces. That's why I had the booster rebuilt, the carburetor rebuilt. I'm trying to use all the original parts I can. Yeah, you can go buy a dash, but this is a very nice, and that's why I've held on to it for so long. I knew I was going to put it in this car. Same with the T-tops. They're freaking perfect. Guy offered me $1,000 for those T-tops because there ain't a scratch in them. But I've gone through a dozen sets, and every time I find them or buy them, I just keep upgrading, getting better and better. But that's it. I'm just trying to get these things in now, because before I do the dash and all the venting and stuff, I want everything under there taken care of as much as I can, because, man, you crawl under a dash anymore and it just sucks getting old. So, for the next day, your neck's hurting and all that kind of stuff. But that's where I'm at on the panels. These are good. If you know anybody looking for a set, I've got those. I've got cell panels. I've got the rear inside quarter, beside seats, a bunch of that stuff. And I'm gonna be getting rid of some of it. I may have to reactivate my eBay account. I'd quit using eBay forever because it was costing you 25% of everything you sold. Once you did fees and all that, it was just a pain in the ass. But you got to reach that market, I guess. And that's where we're at. I actually discovered when I was getting ready to put this vent in, that's when I decided I better do the radio and everything because you can't reach that. I wanted to put the AC control, the heater controls in. They're behind this. And then one more little thing I ran into, there's a little slot there. And the way these apparently originally go in, they go up by the vent in the dash. And it's a push pin that goes in from the front once it sits up in the dash. Push pin goes in, and then you got a little push nut that goes on the back side. I vaguely remember that being on there, but I'm like, what? It's weird looking. Well, I guess it's fine if you're going to be in a hurry. Well, I just found these little clips. I just slipped them over there. Now all I have to do is screw it from the back side. You'd have just a little bit of screw sticking out in there, but black screw, who would care? Part of it's because this will work fine, and I couldn't find the push pins. I guess they're little plastic pieces. And now that I think, it seems like it would move because it's just a push pin. Well, if that does that, I don't want the rattle. So I put those on there, and maybe they did it because they could do it in 2 seconds. I don't know. But now that that's there, if I'm looking, if I find some small pins, I'll make it look original. I'll try to do that, but I can't. Where do you go to shop for this stuff? You don't see it anywhere. That's why I've got bags and bags full of as much original stuff as I could find. But when you go to pull these off, hardly ever there. At least I haven't seen any. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep, I think we're caught up. Again, not a whole hell of a lot accomplished, just a lot of cleaning. I sat here, you know how long this takes to clean all this stuff up. Because you want all the dirt. Of course, I would go to the trouble. I would have pulled all these. Hell, I might even sandblast. At least I'll sand them. You won't see them. I may not sandblast them because you want to eat up the rubber, but just take the time and clean that stuff up. But yeah, I got a couple hours sitting there doing that, and then now I may not even use them. So we'll figure it out. We'll go from there. But I hadn't done a whole lot on the car. It just kind of taking up space right now. But that's the point. That's why we do this. Anyway, not a lot to show you other than that. And then bitch about YouTube, which is ironic, isn't it? Trying to listen to speakers on YouTube. Anyway, hey, if you got some suggestions, holler at me. The speakers I'm looking at were Polk coaxials for the rear, a Pioneer for the rear, just a simple little 6x9, A series, I think that's where we were at. And then for the front, I'm looking at Infinity Reference, a little kicker, and again, another Pioneer. They're 3.5. Why I stress over that, couldn't tell you. Other than you just don't want to buy crap when if you just did a little research, you can get something twice as good for the same money. That's all we're after. But I will then post, when I do hook these up and I listen to them, I'll describe what I'm hearing. Might be a little better. I mean, I'd be glad to let you listen to them, but I'll actually try to describe it. And then one other thing, at least all the sample tracks that they had everywhere, it was not one country song or Southern rock or anything like that. It was all synthesized, heavy thump beat. Granted, kids these days, right? Well, I just like to, listen to some good CCR or something. Not gonna happen. But that's it. I'll let you know what I find out. I may be gone for a week. So, and then hell, you know what? I'm going to Vegas. I may not come back. We'll see how that goes.